When I was a kid, my grandfather had a camp on Moosehead Lake down the lake on Lily Bay. In the summers, this was our vacation place. This is where we came every summer for a couple weeks. Nearly all my formative outdoor experiences were up here in this area. It was the first place I ever had freedom in a way. I had when I was 10, I could take the little 12-foot boat with the 4-horse motor on it and go mess around in the coves around our camp and fish and go out on my own with a motor. It was the first time I'd ever had that experience. For me, there's an emotional connection to the place that's really important. I think that's common for a lot of people who are on the trip and who tend to come up here. Beyond that, it's a big place. This is an undeveloped, unspoiled, wild landscape. You don't find this in very many other places. The scale of this place allows you to have experiences that you can't have on a smaller landscape. For example, we're doing a 300-mile canoe expedition right now through a landscape that's largely unchanged from the time that Henry David Thoreau was here 150 years ago. And there's just not very many places you can have that kind of experience. Again, we're really fortunate to have landowners who are able to keep the forests undeveloped and provide public access. And it's different too because this is not a park. This is privately owned land. It's been managed for timber production for over 100 years. When Thoreau came here, he talked a lot about the loggers in the area. That's another thing that makes this place different than other places where there is that culture. It is a working forest landscape. We're also really fortunate to have really strong conservation organizations in the state who have good relationships with those landowners, are able to work with them through conservation easements to help the landowners keep large tracts of land undeveloped, to help protect some of the special places. There are groups like the Appalachian Mountain Club, the Nature Conservancy, the Forest Society of Maine, the Trust for Public Land. They're all very active on this landscape. And honestly, in the last about 20 years, 15 or 20 years, we've gone in Maine from having about 1 million acres of conserved land to about 3 million acres of conserved land. So it's a tremendous conservation success with extraordinary effort by those conservation groups. And that's part of what makes this landscape work, is that partnership in a way between the private landowners and the conservation groups who are committed to keep the forest as forest on both sides of that equation. There's a lot of places in the world, a lot of places in America where if you go back to a place where someone had been there 150 years ago, you're going to have a very different experience than you would have then. But I believe Thoreau and Polis camped on this very place. And so they stood here and they looked up this lake and they saw the same thing. And it just brings a certain poignancy to it and helps us understand that this is something that has been here, that if we treat it well, this can be here for generations to come. We're fortunate to have 3 members of the Penobscot tribe here with us. And again, for them, this is a landscape that their ancestors have been traveling and standing on this point looking up this lake for thousands of years. And when you're here and you understand that legacy and that history, it helps you really appreciate not just the beauty of it, but the depth of the human experience that's available on this kind of a landscape.